My name is Andro Martinez. That's the Latin way of saying it. And I'm from a family of musicians, Martinez family. We all live in Sydney. We're from Chile originally. I play guitar, that's my main instrument, but I'm also a studio producer. Playing music started because, well, there's quite a few reasons why, but started because of my dad. My dad's a classical, modern guitar player, and he was a full-time musician from Chile. As I was a little boy, I saw him playing, and the influence is very strong when you have that sort of thing happening all the time in front of you. So I picked up the guitar early, but I didn't really get serious till I was about maybe 14, 15, because the girls started noticing me when I play guitar. So it became a thing. So yeah, I kind of knew that I wasn't really going to go and work at a bank or something, you know. All those ideas go through your head, and then plus my mom wanted me to get a degree and all these things, you know. We're very South American, you know. They want you to get a degree, you know. So yeah, music was always a thing. With my brothers, I think it was a very similar story. Because then it was me and then my other brother Down, we were given the example to the younger ones, Banel and Phoenix, and yeah, and then they saw the influence. I've had other part-time jobs, casual work in between, but it's always been music related, you know. Like I worked in a music shop selling recording gear and guitars, you know. So it's always been in the industry, something to do with it. I was 14 years old when I came to Australia from Chile. So I had a big, strong, very rootsy upbringing of what we listened to as a family and as, you know, as being Chilean in Chile, you know. So there was a lot of influences of things that I listened to when I was growing. Like, for example, I'll get to a different point later, but music. My dad was playing classical and folkloric Chilean music. So that was a big thing, you know, like even without me knowing it, I liked it. I loved it. I love it now, you know. It was a thing, you know. But I was also into a lot of electric stuff. So I loved funk and rock and all these things, you know. I was a big fan as a little boy of Michael Jackson and Madonna and all those things. I loved those things here. So that's really, when I got to Australia, you know, I was playing with my fingers guitar, you know. But when I got to Australia, I was able to buy my first electric guitar when I was 15, 16. So when I got my first electric guitar, that was it for me, because I wanted to rock out. I wanted to play rock. That was my thing, you know. I didn't want to play classical guitar because for me, it was like, oh, that's my dad's thing, you know. But now I see it different, of course. But back then was, you know, a little rebel, you know, want to play electric metal, you know. And yeah, so I started doing that. And the moment I started playing, it was about writing. So I started writing keeps, you know, like I used to have this band with Downo and a drummer. We used to play instrumental when Downo was like 12 and I was 16, and we had this other young drummer. We were playing, you know, high school band, you know. But it was all instrumental, very trippy, you know, and it was always about writing and making music. So that brought into a whole different thing, because the drummer was Chilean too, so he had influences from Los Jaivas, you know, like a Chilean band, and we used to listen to Led Zeppelin at the same time. And then there was like influences from the nylon guitar. So the flamenco comes out naturally the moment you grab a nylon guitar, you strum it and it's like, you know, you start, you know, that. So there's a lot of influences. So that's kind of developed that sound, the guitar playing side. Because I was writing a lot, I started getting really interested in wanting to record music. And yeah, in the mid-90s, I recorded in a couple of places, you know, like with the band and stuff, and it was always really interesting. I'd go and sit there with the guy that's mixing the thing, and I'd be giving my opinion and wrecking mixes, you know, because I had no idea, you know. No, can you put that up? No, just put it up, and then we'll get the mix, and it'll be like, oh, Andrew's fault. And yeah, so then I discovered software. So I started getting into software in the mid-90s. I found, I did this TAFE course, and they were showing us how to use software and recording and stuff. It was all brand new technology. No one's ever seen anything like it. And I discovered Cubase. and I started recording Cubase. In Cubase, started doing sequencing, and I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to like you can have your own studio pretty much in this thing, you know. So I started doing that, and that's what I'm using now. Still Cubase. I'm still on Cubase, and that's been kind of the journey. I joined the band with Daryl Beaton, and in between that, I also played with you. We were in Watusi for a while, and that was lots of fun. I missed that band, man. That was because he was so rootsy, and he had the Latin, and he had the distortion, and it was fun, you know. So we did that, and a couple of years later, then I started a family band. So we started Gang of Brothers. In 2011, I think we started Gang of Brothers. Yeah, so that's all my brothers, and then together with this guy called Buddy, who drums and sings, Samoan guy that's Machine Gun. So we started that, and we started recording, and then in between, in and out, I was doing recording, lots of recording jobs, and you know, for people, and recording vocals and doing stuff and jobs, but nothing really. I wasn't really serious in the recording because I was so busy playing. So in the journey, something's always taking a tax, you know. Like if I'm doing lots of recording, I'm getting my ears really tuned, and I'm doing all these things, but my playing's suffering. When I'm playing lots, you know, the studio's suffering. So I've always found it's really hard to have that balance, you know. In part of that journey of sound and finding things and understanding things, it's taken me a long time to kind of understand things for my ear, you know, for my ear to develop. So, for example, as you can see here in the studio, for example, like to understand how that piece of hardware works, you know. I'm the kind of person that if you tell me that thing does that, you know, I still don't really get it. I have to do it myself. So that's how I've worked. I've worked where I get to a level where I want to understand it myself rather than someone tell me and I go, oh yeah, that's what it does, you know. But I not really understand it without my hands on it, if that makes sense, and using my ears. So that's been part of my musical journey, technical journey. I've always been very techy in a lot of things when it comes to guitar, pedal boards, or studio stuff, or MIDI configurations of sending things here and there, and press one button and it changes 10 things. I love doing those things, you know, and having weird sounds that make sense for what you're doing. I met, we reconnected with Lilly Guerrero, my partner. Yeah. And that brought me back to my roots a lot because she's very Chilean. So she has a lot of the music that she writes, a lot of the music that she listens to. She also dances and sings in a salsa band, the Salsa Kings. So that brought me back brought a lot of things back like that. Going to her family's house and we're having empanadas, you know, lots of things that I like, you know, because I've been here for so long, you know, you kind of, you sometimes you forget without even noticing that you forget. So that brought all that back, and then we made music and stuff that's Latin based and guitar based, and she plays the charango and she does it so amazingly. So it's made me work in that music again, and I love it. So I'm very thankful that we've done this music together. And now I'm making my own stuff, my own music. So I've been releasing a couple of tunes, and I got music coming out, and it's under Andro Martinez. So in that, I'm pushing the studio, Martinez Productions, to get by releasing those things, you know, it's to get clients that will come to here because they hear what I do and they like what they see, and you know, so that's sort of the journey where it's been going and where I'm at. I'm doing what I think I should be doing myself, for me. So normally when I start making something or I start writing something, it's because I'm vibing on it and it feels good to me. So hopefully, like any person that writes a song, hopefully you want to be able to communicate that feeling for others, to listen to others, to feel what you feel. If you can have that connection, you know, whether it's just a feeling of a good vibe and this is funky, man, or it's just like, oh, this is gonna make me cry because it's so beautiful. It doesn't matter what the intention of the music is, but if you can capture that and then you can put that in someone else's eyes and someone else's ears and someone else's feelings, so they can feel it. I think you want. So that's what I want to. That's what I want people to kind of connect with me. I want them to connect with me because if they come to me, or if I'm working with someone, it's because that is the reason why they want to. In the studio, it's different because in the studio I'm putting my mark, and I feel that I'm creating heritage. I'm creating I'm leaving a legacy of music that I wrote this at this time. This was written 20 years ago. This is written now. When I'm 65, I'll be listening to it and going, oh wow, I did that back then. But with the covers and those gigs, it all goes up into thin air. Quick money, fast money. So that's the beauty of it, and it's fun. It's lots of fun. But for me, the creative process is the most important process, and hence that's why I've invested a lot of time and money into this room to kind of make it a thing, so that way I can do those things and be creative, even if I'm creating for other people. Because it's all creative at the end of the day. In the studio, it's all creative, regardless of what you're doing. Some gigs too. I feel that the gigs are the same too, but I'm not connecting that way so much into that. Well, the spark can be lots of things. It can be sometimes it's like an inner cry to sometimes to prove to yourself that you can do these things that you haven't done for a while, that like you feel like, oh, how am I going to start this thing? How am I going to write this song? And then you just got to throw yourself and you got to push yourself in there, and then it becomes a thing. You start doing it. The wheel starts turning, and then the ideas start to come out. You start going like this. And the spark I think it's always there. It's just channeling the energy at the right time when you're able to it. So, for example, a lot of the time, instead of hanging out, I'll come in here and I'll focus in here and I'll try and do that stuff. When it starts to come out, I try and take advantage of it as much as I can to be in here and be creative and write and produce the things that I want to do. Write the lyrics when the lyrics are coming out, because otherwise they don't come out after, or they're like at the right time. And it's always the thing when finding. It's sometimes you get consumed by life, by other things, and then it'll stop you from doing all those things. And you have to try and take advantage when you have that energy there. Sometimes because you're consumed by all these other things, or things are not going well in life for yourself, this is the escape. This is where you put that down. This is where you put your stamp, like you feel like you've conquered something, even though the other things you're not conquering, And the other way around. Sometimes you feel great, and then you just come in the studio. It's like I'm on top of the world. So you just write stuff. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was saying, "Man, it's really hard to write for me at the moment because everything is great in my life. So I don't have inspiration because I just feel like chilling out. Everything's happy, and it's like it's very true. Sometimes when all those things, everything's going great, like you're happy with your partner. Sometimes it's really hard to be inspired and be vibey and go for that walk." I've been, years ago, heartbroken, and then I wrote 20 songs about love, Then I'm really happy, and then those songs don't come out. They're not there. Those melodies don't come out, like those lyrics are not there because it's, going through it, Sometimes other things happen in life, you go through, I don't know, something happens, whatever it is, and then that creates inspiration for you to write. Not necessarily about the problem, but it's just about the thing, because you need to explode. You need to give something out. Everything, you need to take things out of there and turn it into something. Sometimes even just prove to yourself, or sometimes there's many reasons why you can get in the studio and do your things, but I find that it's a lot of the times it's like I said, it can be a spark that sometimes you need to like really light up, push it to come alive, especially when you're doing a lot of other things. Yeah. Yeah, I do, but it's in a different kind of way. I don't really I don't follow or or go to church or anything like that. That's not my kind of thing. I find it that I connect more with earth. That's where I find my spirituality with music, just with my partner, that's how I feel that kind of plays a big part in me. I find that too many people, or sometimes we waste too much time preaching to the wall when we should be looking right in front of us. I think it's a very weird place right now, but I think the whole world is weird. I mean, what can we say? I mean, it's like we thought we were coming out of the pandemic, and then all of a sudden we get thrown back in again, and then it's like, it feels like we're coming out again, and then so what's going on? Nobody really knows what's happening. We can't fly overseas. There's lots of things we can do. So music is the first thing that's been affected in a major way, in lots of ways. There's still gigs out there, like I said, I'm doing gigs and stuff, but it's not the gigs I want to do. So in the way that's affected, I think we're going to see, or we are seeing that, for example, original bands like the one we used to play with together, Watusi. It's really hard now, for example, if a band like that came into the market today, be really hard to put it out there, to turn it into something, become a thing. It could become a recording thing where we do a few tracks in the studio and then record a few, and then if everyone's into it, you come in every now and then. But to turn it into a thing where you go and do festivals and all these things, because they're not there. There's just not enough, because there used to be, like at the time when we used to do those things, there was lots of venues to play at. There was lots of places you could tour up and down the coast and all these things. Those things are not there anymore. So it's all digital now, really. The presence has to be very strong digitally. I'm not sure what's going to happen when we come out of the pandemic. I think a lot of things are going to explode for a moment. There's going to be an explosion, lots of things going on here and there and there and there. But I'm not sure if we're going to go back to the glorious days that we all hoped that we could go back to. Only because everything's changed. That generation that used to go out all the time, it's not there anymore. The people that used to go in to see live music, it's dramatically dropped. I mean, if you go out, we all know this, if we go out to a club, people are willing to pay $50 to get into the club in the city, but there's a band playing up the road in some other place and people are struggling to pay $10 to go and see them. So that's in the live sense, The studio, lots of young people are doing it, and it's great that it's a strong thing, but still, like, there's no money now. Like, if you release a track or if you release an EP, there's no hardware version of the thing that you can go and sell at a gig, because people are not buying records anymore, and there's hardly any gigs like that to do original music, to something that's like, oh yeah, let's go to this place to see this. It's not a thing. So I'm not sure we got to live in a lot of that beautiful time that was great. I'm not sure what's going to happen now after we come out of this. I'm really confused about it, to be honest. For me, it's created a lot of change, and it's the pandemic kind of, it was a blessing and a curse, about both, because I was able to stop doing so many gigs and I was able to focus in the studio. So that was the blessing. The curse is that there's just no work out there like they were used to, or those band gigs that people were doing, a lot of them are not there. But I like to see a resurrection of original music. That would be the vibe, because if there's a massive resurrection of just covers, it's still, dead end stuff, So if we can create like new bands that come out and then they become a thing, like a new in excess, like new massive bands, like that would be amazing. But we'll see,